Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Bugdoctor. I'm here to run the entire Startropics series for you in the span of a couple hours because there's only two of them. And I've got my awesome commentator here, Zero Counts, who's going to help me fumble my way through these couple runs and hopefully let me focus at times when I need to, and he can kind of fill in the gaps. So
I'll do my best.
I have no doubt that you will. With that, I'm going to get started, and we're going to get into some overworld stuff, and yeah, hopefully everything goes smoothly. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go. All right. So, hey, I'm Zero Counts. I also run this game.
He does.
Just this one. Not Startropics 2. But anyway, you'll see here that we have some overworld sections. You're going to see a lot of similarities to some other games, kind of like Zelda with the top-down overworld sections as well as the dungeons. But believe me, the game does not control quite like Zelda. No, it's got some. I think the word that a lot of people like to use is some jank to it.
Some skating.
Yeah, some skating. Yep. Yeah, it's really interesting. Before I get into that, though, you'll see that Mike here, the main character, is getting his yo-yo as a weapon. Definitely one of the coolest weapons in a video game, even to date. Oh yeah, very deadly. just beating enemies in the face with the yo-yo. It's a really good picture to draw.
You just have to hit the eyes directly. That's the only
So you'll notice that Bug is talking to a lot of these people in town. Startropics kind of requires you to kind of get to know the townspeople. It's kind of like an immersion piece in the game. So once the town people get to know you, they allow you to continue on your adventure and go into their sacred caverns here. So here we are in the first dungeon. Bug's gonna take care of these slimes pretty easily, the jellies as they're called in the game. And all of this is
actually, I was gonna be for a moment.
So you'll notice that a lot of this movement is kind of very smooth, and that's because everything in this game, even down to the text boxes, are all controlled with buffered movements and buffered inputs. Basically, what that means is that, like, while Mike is in an animation, you can immediately press the next button, and it will have that button press at the very first possible frame. So what we do is we basically press all the buttons a few frames ahead of time to make sure that we're doing everything as fast as possible. And the reason why this works is because this game works on like on a grid system here. You'll see it's kind of like a chessboard or a checkerboard where you have these like squares that Mike is traveling back and forth on. Some of them you have to jump on, but some of them you just walk through. You can't walk like in half tiles. The game doesn't let it work. So it does some really weird things with frame buffering and lag and stuff like that. And the way it actually is programmed is pretty interesting. So we're gonna be coming.
Having some weird problems here with my brain.
Oh no!
Being like Startropics 2.
Oh yeah. Okay, so this is Sea Serpent here, the very first boss. We don't actually fight Sea Serpent. We just use a damage boost to use the iframes to walk right through, and we just see the shattered remains of Sea Serpent there.
Yes. Yeah, the back half of him, he was already dying. He was half dead already, so.
Yeah, it wasn't our fault. I mean, yeah. That's why he was so ornery when you came in the room.
Exactly. Yeah, and I guess I shouldn't spoil anything, but I was getting messed up there because Startropics 2 has a very some similar rooms. Let's just say.
Yes. Yeah,
And
little.
I've been practicing a lot of Startropics too, and I could feel the nerves in my brain just getting crossed.
Yeah, it's actually fairly interesting, the differences between Startropics 1 and 2, and as far as I know, I don't recall them being run back to back in the past. It may have been done at some point in the past, but not to my knowledge. So it's going to be really interesting to see them both back to back and see the differences live here.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the first chapter.
See if my hands can make the alterations for Startropics 2.
I think you'll be fine. All right, so we're starting off chapter 2 here. This dolphin comes up to us and says, "Help! Help! My child! My child! You need to save my child." And I guess like.
Feed my child.
And I guess we speak Dolphin. We use a translator on the sub, I suppose. I don't know. Video games. So yeah, we got some overworld sections here. We talked to this lady who is the wife of the lighthouse keeper. She says there's a bottle on the beach, so we go and check it out. It turns out that the bottle is a message from your uncle, who actually earlier in the game we found out that the whole reason why Mike is actually here is because he's visiting his uncle. But oh no, Mike's uncle was kidnapped.
He's gone.
He's gone. He's not here. So that's why we're taking this sub and going around the islands and trying to figure out where the heck our uncle is.
The search for Steve.
Search for Uncle Steve. So here we go.
Sounds very basic, but it gets a bit more zany than that, as I'm sure a lot of people are aware.
Oh yeah, hold on to your butts. It gets pretty interesting. So now we get a little bit more difficult enemies here in the dungeons, and a lot more jumping puzzles. You'll notice a lot of times in this dungeon in particular, Bug will do some weird aerial movement where when he's in the air, Mike will do like a spin. We saw it earlier in the previous room, and we'll see it again coming up soon here. This is what I was talking about with the lag movement in the game. So we'll actually see it right here. I was going to jump and do a turn in the air. And what that does is it causes a few frames of lag in the game and makes it so that we can jump onto this sinking block at one of the earliest possible frames before it ends up sinking. It's a lot of really tiny time saves that add up a whole lot over the course of the run. And also it just sort of solves the problems for you by doing these inputs. If you do the inputs properly, it'll work right every time.
Yeah.
So this is probably one of the coolest sub-weapons in the game. You'll see there's a lot of sub-weapons, a lot of different styles, and that's the baseball bat. Unfortunately, we don't use it a whole lot in this game, but the times that we do are awesome. We took care of like a whole bunch of spin stars there.
Yeah, it's a very, very useful weapon in the right circumstances, and it's one of my favorites in the game. It's super situational, but really fun to use.
So here is actually one of the first magic items that we're going to pick up. It is the snowman. This is the only dungeon that we ever see the snowman in, and we will use it on the boss of this chapter, which is coming up really soon here. There is the dolphin.
Dolphin buddy.
Alright, and this is Octo the Huge. That is his real name. And we want to wait until Octo comes down to attack us. He can really take his time if he wants to, which he is. Wow, this is alright, there it is. And then we will use the freeze and attack him. We have to hit him 50 times, which is a lot, and so we have to use that buffered inputs like I was discussing earlier. The perfect beats per minute for the buffered inputs on Octo is actually 360 beats per minute, so you can pull up a YouTube video and tap a NES controller at 360 beats per minute if you ever want to practice this at home.
I don't actually do the BPM.
Yeah,
like what the
360.
actual value was. I like to look it up, and it just never happened.
All right, and that's it. That's chapter 2. We saved the
Yeah.
dolphin. Great job,
It
Bugs.
It's one of the easiest ones to learn in the speed run. It's like definitely easier than chapter 1. Chapter 1 has a lot of really technical stuff, but yeah, this particular dungeon is pretty straightforward once you get a hang of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next chapter is not straightforward.
No, not at all.
It's what people break.
The next chapter is fairly infamous in the Startropics community as being one of the most loathed chapters of the entire game. It has ruined many of Startropics runner, and the reason for that is because it is like super long. So each one of the chapters that we just did has 1 dungeon. Chapter 3 has 5 dungeons.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
one of them, or 2 of them, are kind of short, but that doesn't mean that they're easy. So we're going to be coming across the very first dungeon here, which some people in the community like to refer to as the RNG dungeon, because of the immense amount of RNG that is involved with a lot of the enemies in here. So you'll notice as well that every time we start a new chapter, we start at 3 hearts. That is unfortunate. So we really have to conserve health as much as we can in every chapter. So here is one of the worst rooms in the game. Second only to the next room in this chapter. We got these monkeys, which just randomly jump around, and they each take 2 hits, so they're really tough to deal with. And then in the next room, we have even more monkeys that we have to deal with. Oh no! Oh, they're really... As you can see, it can get really hairy really fast. But that's it. That's the only time we're gonna see those monkeys in the entire run. Thank goodness. We're gonna see another.
Those things.
We're gonna see another buffered movement there, where Mike actually he throws a bolo there, and that's just to before jumping forward, and that is to make sure that we're lined up for the jumping. And
from across the room. Feels
there
so
we
good.
go. That's it looks like swag, but it's kind of necessary depending on how that bat moves. It can really mess you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the first of 5 dungeons in Startropics, Chapter 3.
It wasn't too bad. The monkeys were kind of jerks, but overall it was okay. The dodos behaved at least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You didn't take any damage, which is always a plus. So we got another overworld section here. This is the town of Miracola. We have to talk to pretty much everybody in this town, minus like 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
There is an example of some text buffering that we need to do here on Mira. We have to tell Mira here that she is the cutest between a girl in a previous town and herself, and so it's the second option in the dialogue box. So we have to buffer the right input to make sure that we select it while we're buffering through the text. Otherwise, she gets really mad at us and just walks away.
Yeah. And tells the chief that you can't go in the hut.
Yeah, soft locks the game. No, that doesn't happen, but yeah.
It's pretty easy, don't let him in.
So we talked to the chief here, and he's like, "Hey, my daughter Benannette has fallen asleep, and we need to save my daughter, and that is the only way that I'm going to fix your ship, your submarine." So he's kind of blackmailing us, but we really need that submarine to work. So we have to go and find a spell from a hermit on a mountain far away to wake up his daughter.
Just casual tropical island blackmail.
Oh yeah. Hey, and
here.
also we need to make sure that the chief isn't lying, so we actually have to go and check and make sure Ben Annette is actually sleeping
Yes.
before we leave the town. And then after all of that, we finally can leave Miracola.
We're out of here. A lot of people want the fabled Miracola skip, but alas, it seems to be... It's a myth.
It's just a myth at this point.
Yep.
Good luck. Alright, so this is Dungeon 2. This is Magma's Cavern, Magma's Cave, as I like to call it. We got a lot of enemies to deal with here. A lot of cool buffered techniques that Bug's going to show off. And a lot of sub-weapons in here as well. This is one of the coolest rooms in the game, and it kind of shows off Startropics' game design, where the entire room is dark, and you're supposed to use those snakes that come towards you to see which platform you need to jump to. Kind of uses the enemy design as a way of figuring out the platforming. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite rooms. Probably my favorite room in the game, actually, and just how clever it is, and it kind of... I don't know, it's one of those rooms that really makes you think, you know?
Oh yeah. We also picked up a new sub-weapon, the Slingshot, which comes in super handy in here because it deals 2 damage to every enemy, whereas your yo-yo only does 1. And a lot of the enemies in here take 2 hits, especially these flies here, these gadflies.
Yeah,
not a bad room.
Working on. Yeah, I just missed that jump at the start of it, but it's okay.
Oh. Alright, got past the Mad Muddy.
Just kill that guy for fun. Oh, that guy too.
There you go. Oh, there's 2 of them. Yeah, the Mad Muddy can sneak some damage in there. It's buffered movements to go through that whole cave, but sometimes his shots get in the way. Alright, so we're coming up to Magma here. This is all buffered inputs, except for one jump here, which is timed, which is right there. And we're good to go here. The rest of this is all buffered, so the way we have to fight Magma is actually just to drop him in the water. I like to think that Magma is actually the island water heater for Miracola, which is why he's perched above a bunch of water, even though he's a fire entity.
Swear.
So unfortunately, Miracola residents have to take cold showers from now on, so thanks, Mike.
Oof. That's a huge oof.
Oh yeah. And that is the second dungeon there. I had to think there for a second because I'm like, no, this can't just be the second one. We're only two dungeons through already?
Yep.
Oh boy. So we're coming to the third dungeon here of Chapter 3. Definitely the most notorious for being the trolliest dungeon in Startropics. This is the graveyard.
Where runs go to die conveniently.
Yes. There's a lot of interesting stuff that this one throws at you, as well as some... When you're playing casually, you'll find that there are a lot of false exits in this game, specifically in this dungeon. I think there's like, 3 or 4 false exits that will actually take you out of the graveyard and back up to the overworld. And yeah. The casual player might think, oh, well, the dungeon's done, right? No, you have to go back in, you have to find the boss, so...
Yeah, it's nasty.
So in the room that Bug's in right now, there's a secret in this room. I swear to God, there is an enemy in that room, but we don't see it. And we're not going to see this type of enemy for a while here. After this room, we'll see Bug do some really awkward movement in this room for a certain reason. is jumping around. He is dodging some invisible ghost enemies that are actually present in this room. Oh, and there one is. I told you there was one.
I just want to show you guys this one.
Yeah, that's all that was. We just wanted to prove to everybody that that's there.
There's one there too.
There is a sub weapon that we will find soon. That or not a sub weapon, but a magic weapon that will show where the ghosts are, because there are some rooms coming up that will require us to actually defeat the ghosts to progress.
Yeah.
And we're going to be coming up to another one of these dark rooms. There is a way to light up this room using a lantern, but we're speedrunners, so we skip that. And we just do this all through memorization and buffering. It's important that the movement in this cave is buffered because there are two sinking platforms at the end here that if you don't buffer your inputs, you could fall into them and lose your life.
Yes, it's very scary.
Speaking of scary, these enemies here, Mr. Armstrong,
just burning time.
yeah, he's just hanging out, just snickering under there. And then we got some more of these bone dogs. The bone dogs will charge at you if they're pointed in your direction. Dealing with some more mummies. The mummies are not particularly difficult, but they take a lot of hits, and they do a lot of damage when they walk into you, so it's important to
very tanky.
Yeah, very tanky, and it's important to get rid of them as quickly as you can. So here are those ghosts that we were talking about. They're there. I told you.
I didn't get to take a hit there.
Whoa!
But
That was good. That was good. Yeah, that was like I had a frame, one more frame, and I think we would have taken a hit. We got these. So you notice Bug just picked up an item, which is the mirrors. If you do not grab that item, you cannot get out of that room with the Wizrobe style enemies there, the dim hags. A lot of times people get into that room, not have the mirrors, and then they just have to jump in the water.
Sometimes that's just how Startropics be.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
that's definitely one of the things that Startropics is known for is trolley rooms like that, where if you do not know what you're getting into, just kind of have to die and start over. All right, so this is the boss of the graveyard. This is Maxie. Bug is going to make quick work of Maxie here. Looks like Maxie's actually behaving pretty well. Oh,
pretty well.
Oh no!
Okay. Let's do that.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah, Maxie will just kind of wander around up there while the fireballs and the little ghosts, the minis as they're called, will come at you. Maxie just chills up there, and every once in a while we'll just let out a boop and stand still and take a few hits. I think it's 16 hits to take out Maxie.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, and that is the end of this dungeon. We are going to drain the swamp, as it were, and grab the crystal ball that is at the bottom of the lake. Casually, what you would normally do is you would go and talk to the fortune teller in the nearby castle, and the fortune teller would say, "Oh, please, I lost my crystal ball. It's at the bottom of the lake, and you have to go and get it." But we skip that part because it's actually one of the few dialogue flags that we don't have to activate before going into the dungeon.
Yeah, normally with a lot of items in this game that you pick up in the overworld, you have to actually talk to somebody to make it appear, and that's like maybe the only exception, because I think it's the only one, really, that you...
Yeah, I think so.
Operates like that. Thankfully. chapter 3 is long enough. We don't need to talk to the fortune teller twice.
Yeah. So we're going to be going into another overworld section here. We need a disguise to go through the castle of Shikola. So we deliver the crystal ball to the fortune teller. The fortune teller gives us a nice disguise here, and we will be able to walk through the doors. You know, they say that they say that hey, you must be from Radicola. You know, I don't really know the lore of Radicola, and I've always wondered what that is. You know, where is Radicola, and what do they do there?
Very good question. Maybe that will be visited in Startropics 3, which is most in development.
Yes.
By Devolver.
I know you're listening, Devolver Digital. I know you're watching. So we talked to Queen Shikola here, and she actually gave us our first weapon upgrade, the Shooting Star. It takes our normal yo-yo and allows it to do 2 damage, and also has fires a projectile. We can only use it though when we have 6 hearts or more. So in our current state, we actually can't fire it. But thankfully there are some hearts that we can pick up in the next dungeon.
I want everyone in chat to be saying abracadabra once I jump on this button 10 times.
That's right, we have a special code that we have to say here.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Abracadabra. Cadabra.
I didn't know what you were gonna say there. Shout outs to Mickey Dad Rad.
Yes, Mickey.
Alright, so this is the this is the shortest dungeon in the game, I guess, except for 6-0. Spoilers. But we can make quick work of the enemies in here. We have to be very careful though, because if we take any hits from any of these enemies, we will lose our shooting star, which makes the next dungeon a lot more difficult. Oh, that was a very good pattern.
Awesome. All the octops were just like, hey, just kill me. Just go through quick. Just end it quick, like.
They're RGL TV fans. Yeah, they want you to do a great job.
Yeah. You got this, Mike. What?
All right, and so with that, we are now on the 5th and final dungeon of Chapter 3. You have to climb this mountain to get to the hermit that has the special, what do you call it? Spell, I guess, to wake up Benanette.
Just talk this at her really loud, and she'll wake up because she'll hear you talking.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. Every time anybody goes in the room, they just whisper. And she's really just sleeping.
Oh, Jesus. I don't want to wake her up.
They say she's
just scream at her. Oh, Bob! Oh, Bob!
Alright, so this room here has some pretty scary enemies in it, called the Frappas. And they will jump up, oh boy, wait, you're not, oh, there's one.
The anticipation is the worst part of that room, because when you don't see them for a while, it's like, okay, it's just gonna land on me somewhere.
Now, they were very nice to you there. They can...
That was pretty good.
You know, if your movement is buffered, there are very few patterns where they can actually land right on top of you, but there are a couple where it's just, there's nothing you can really do unless you kind of, prepare yourself, I guess.
Yep.
Alright, these enemies here, these floating eyeballs, are called goglins. They are one of the most annoying enemies in the game. As soon as you hit them, they will shoot at you at tremendous speed. Thankfully, we only see them in this dungeon. It's pretty common for this game to introduce enemies in a dungeon and then never see them again.
Yep.
Got a good bully pattern, yeah. These bullies have
Thought it was going to run into me. God.
Yeah, these bullies have 11 HP, I believe. So they take a total of 6 hits from the shooting star, 11 hits from the yo-yo if you lose the shooting star before this point, which is very common. So they deal, I believe, 2.5 hearts of damage if they walk into you. So they're nothing to be messed with.
Yeah, they are beefy.
All right, and then we jump onto this geyser here, and we shoot up to the top of the mountain, and that is the end of chapter 3.
I just jump on a geyser and hope it just blasts me to the top, you know.
That's a thing that is in a lot of video games. I believe in McDonald's Treasureland Adventure is another game where you ride a geyser up into the sky. Has anybody ever tried that? I don't know if you can actually like do that.
I do it all the time.
Do you?
It's normal. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's how you go to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Every day. Alright, so we got the spell, and so Mike runs as fast as he can back to Bananette here, and he just yells out, Boba Bob, Uma Uma Babab, Baba Bob Uma Uma. And then there she is, she's awake. It's like, what's all that noise?
Why are you so
trying to sleep here.
They just never tried screaming at her.
So now that we saved Bananette, they fixed our sub, and we are on our way to the next chapter.
Weird not splitting. I'm used to having my splits, but
it's
weird.
We don't do that here. This is just we're continuing.
Yeah,
oh, no.
Exactly. No worry for that.
We don't want you to get too far in and think you should reset the game or something.
Right.
Sorry everybody. Bug's a minute behind. You gotta start over.
Guess I'll start over.
All right. So this is chapter 4. We only have to talk to that one child in the village, whose name is Bait, and also our sub is parked in a precarious spot, which looks like it's going to be eaten by a fish, and then oh my goodness, what is this thing? Oh, you've been swallowed by a whale.
Shocked Pikachu face.
Shocked Pikachu face. So Mike has been swallowed by a whale, and it's fine. The sub still works, so we're good to go. And then look, there's somebody in here. It's our uncle's assistant, Babu. He was apparently riding a raft in the middle of the ocean for some reason. I don't know if that's ever really explained. I guess he was looking for Uncle Steve.
He somehow beat us there and also dodged the storm that nearly killed us.
I don't know. Maybe Babu should be the one going after Uncle Steve. Yeah.
I think Babu was just an alien in secret.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
The deep Startropic theories here.
If you look at the sprite name for him, it actually says Alien Babu.
Oh, is that true? Alien Babu.
I wish.
So yeah, we're just goofing off here because there's not much to do here in this chapter. We're kind of taking the sub through the whale. We have to find a lighter because how are we gonna get out of this whale? We have to light a fire. So there's a lighter that Babu dropped, and we're going to pick that lighter up and make a fire that will make some smoke for the whale to sneeze, I guess, and shoot us out of the whale's blowhole, I suppose. This game really just has me asking a lot of questions. Like, when whales sneeze, do they sneeze out of their blowhole, or do they sneeze out of their mouth? Do they even sneeze at all? I mean, these are the questions we need to ask. Is there a marine biologist in chat that could tell us about how whales sneeze?
They must.
They have to sneeze, otherwise Startropics is a lie.
Exactly. This is completely based on reality, so let's be serious here for just a moment.
All right, so it worked. What an ingenious plan. We are shot out of the whale. So now this part coming up here is also fairly infamous for Startropics. We have to input a code, but the game does not give us said code. We actually need to take a letter that was provided with the manual for Startropics and dip it in water, and it will reveal a code on it, which is 747 megahertz, which Bug clearly already pre-dipped his letter.
Yes, I had it dunked and taped to the side of my television. Otherwise, it's not a legit run unless you dunk the letter.
Yep, you have to have the letter and dunk it live, or it's invalid.
Yeah. It actually says that in the speedrun rules on speedrun.com. Must have video footage of the letter done.
Alright, this is Chapter 5. This is another fairly interesting dungeon, and Startropics really does a good job at taking each chapter and sort of adding some new features, and I know that's pretty common in video games, but I mean, in the NES, you never knew what you were going to get, right? So this game actually has some pretty interesting level design, and Chapter 5's gimmick, if it were, is there's a lot of like traps and puzzles. It really gives off a Indiana Jones vibe, as you'll see as we get into the dungeon. But first we have to do a bunch of... Oh yeah, go ahead.
It's funny that you mentioned the variety, because it reminds me of the commercial, a television commercial, where the guy's like, "Oh, I'm talking to this parrot, and then I get swallowed by a whale, and then I run away from a boat. Oh, wow, it's like 7 games in 1. It's just like, good advertising.
If anybody has not ever seen the Nintendo commercial for Startropics, I encourage you to check it out on YouTube at your earliest convenience. we have a ways before we get into the next dungeon, so feel free to go do that now.
It is a radical commercial.
So we're going to do some overworld stuff here before we get into the dungeon. We had to go and pick up a fresh worm before talking to a parrot that we'll be coming up to pretty soon here. The parrot, named Peter, will not talk to us and not give us the next clue until we give him a treat, a gift, as it were. So yes. We're gonna find Peter and give him that fresh worm, and Peter is going to give us a somewhat cryptic clue on how to proceed to the next dungeon.
No
gift, no chat. Also, shout out to the song here. This is my favorite song in the Startropics repertoire of music. Unfortunately, we only hear it for about 4 or 5 seconds. I can see people in the chat. We're looking up the commercial. You're welcome. All right, so the Peter actually gave us a clue, said, "Do me so far, do me." Which I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on the commentary, but that's what Peter said. It was me. So we're supposed to take those words and translate them into notes on a piano. So do, mi, so, fa, do, mi. And we are going to go into this, what do you call it, a cathedral, I guess, or something. And memorial, that's right. And play it on this giant floor organ, similar to the one, or the little piano in Big. Shoutouts to all the Big fans out there.
That's being like Captain Bell, or I don't know if he designed it, but whoever designed this memorial was just like, should we make the organ just like a normal size, or should we make it like, so you have to like literally step on it?
No, I want each key to be the size. F's in chat for the F room.
Yeah, it's the size of a person, the size of a teenager.
It's the size of a 15-year-old boy. All right, so here we are in the Chapter 5 dungeon. I'm gonna deal with some of these Noctos, the bats here, and then this is one of the
action.
Some action, yes. So this room here seems unassuming, but then all of a sudden the screen starts to shake and the platforms start to get destroyed. If you take the path without actually jumping over that gap there, the preferred path for the speed run actually won't work. You won't be able to get out of the room. So you do have to jump that gap. We have
those
these
first rooms really, or the first, like those trap rooms really set the stage or the theme for this entire dungeon. It's pretty cool. I remember the first time running through this dungeon as a kid, I was just like, oh god.
Well, and the music as well, because you start off the dungeon and it shoots the boss music at you, so you know things are really serious.
Yes.
So a lot of rooms here where we just have to defeat certain enemies to get through them, find some secret passageways through the walls, and then we have another one of these floor destroying platform rooms. Thankfully we know where the button is. Alright, so here is the first megaton, and Bug successfully did the blue megaton skip here. Oh, there it is. I spoke before you got to that part, but I knew it was going to be fun. Those things are instant death if they roll over Mike, so it's pretty scary getting up close and personal with them. So we picked up another Rod of Sight here, which tells us there are probably some invisible ghosts in this dungeon, which we'll find later on. This is a pretty cool room with the snakes. You actually have to we end up luring the snakes towards us, that we can kill them faster, because they move a lot faster than Mike does. We have the green megaton room here, and Bug's going to do a whole bunch of different inputs here and throw a mirror out for some strange reason, and this is all buffered inputs so that we can leave the room at almost exactly the last possible frame. Or I guess first possible frame.
The last possible frame, just sit there.
Yeah, last possible frame until the NES just burns away.
Yeah.
Alright, jumping through some pinballs here. We have more of these spike traps, which is good pattern. Good pattern, just had that one to deal with.
That's good.
Bug's gonna throw a yo-yo there, another buffered input to make it. Oh, whoa!
Yeah, the old 50-50.
That's right. According to the numbers, it's a 50-50 chance that thing's gonna hit you. But boy, I feel like it's so low. I feel like I never get hit by that thing.
I'm gonna throw an extra one because I kind of stalled on full.
Yeah,
stalled on a full tile there.
So this red megaton will actually it kind of homes in on Mike, so you have to kind of deal with it with your shooting star. If you happen to make it into that room with the yo-yo, it's really scary because the yo-yo doesn't have much reach to it.
Yeah.
And that's the end of chapter 5. Not a whole lot of like enemy rooms in there, so most of it is just buffered inputs and dodging traps and things like that. So you can keep this dungeon fairly consistent, but messing up any of those traps can add a whole lot of time.
Yeah, that sets you back, and then if you also just take a hit that gets rid of your shooting star and brings you down to yo-yo, then you can lose a lot of time in that dungeon. But once you know 5, it's honestly like, yeah, pretty straightforward.
Oh, I see that.
07's in chat.
Yeah, 07's in chat for the sinking of the ship. Oh, I see that that Vane is asking, what is the joke that they do with the red megaton? Yeah, that's right. The final megaton is coated in the blood of previous Bugdoctor runs, because of how many times the thing has squished Bugdoctor streams.
I'm squanched by that thing more times than I care to admit, just from a slight misinput or something. Not this time, because I played it incredibly safe.
All right, so we are coming up to Chapter 6 here. Chapter 6 actually has our very first donation incentive, which was to pick up the apple, which I believe we met that incentive.
Oh yeah, we met it before we quite early.
All right.
Actually, really mentioned it because I almost was gonna completely just cruise on by. So let's go get that apple, and we're gonna feed this kid, Michael Jones.
Michael Jones has been going full Michael on this run, and so he's got quite the appetite. So we're gonna pick up this apple.
He's ravenous.
See if it does us any good. So this area is just a big old maze, just a lot of different branching paths and things.
Here it is.
Here it is, the apple, and we eat it, and you've got a big apple.
It's delicious.
It's delicious.
But nothing happens.
Nothing happens at all. Totally worth it. I think it's supposed to. I think the reason why they put that there is to entice people to think that it's a big heart. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just that it's just some jokes, just jokes.
Yeah, I just picture them being like, let's just put like a giant apple on one of them. Just control them. And then, because if you go in the first time, you're like, oh, I wonder what that thing does. It's like, nothing happens. Wait, it's not even health refill. It just tastes good.
It's just a delicious apple. Yeah, there's a lot of different there's a lot of fun things that you can discover around these islands. Different NPCs to talk to, some funny things that they say, and yeah. But unfortunately, we're doing a speed run here, so we gotta just leave all that stuff behind.
Yeah, we're not talking.
Yeah. All they're gonna do is slow us down.
I want to see the tattered remains of Robinson Crusoe Cola.
All right, here we go. We're coming up to one of the hardest dungeons in the entire game. This is dungeon 6-0. See if we can get through here.
I'm just going by just by hearing. Oh, I passed the first room. Oh, there's the second.
All right.
Oh, we're good.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Yeah. Very good holding of the up button there. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely frame perfect.
Oh,
yeah.
That dungeon gets you alive. I'm not gonna lie.
Let's get some applause in the chat for Bugdoctor and his perfect 6-0.
Thank you.
All right, we're coming along here into the first of 2 dungeons in Chapter 6. Oh, sorry, 3. I forgot about 6-0. So this is another dungeon where it's very important to keep your shooting star, and it can be really tricky because they throw these delightful mummies at us, and of course we get a not so favorable mummy pattern. Oh jeez. Okay. Oh no. Okay, we're all right. We're all right there.
Just keeping it buffer here.
Oh yeah, so we have a really interesting room strat here. So essentially, that one octot that's really far away on the far right cannot be hit from that distance except for every other frame. So what we do is we actually take intentional damage from one of the octots, which resets Mike's attack frame to the frame that octot takes damage on. So by buffering our inputs after being hit, it'll line us up to be on the proper frame every time. So this is the first boss of this dungeon. This is Turboss. It is pretty much a carbon copy of Octo the Huge, except with a palette swap and sprite swap. So it shoots a bunch of stuff at us, and we have to dodge the attacks. And
he behaved a lot better than Octo did, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, came down like right away. But that boss actually cannot be defeated in one cycle if you have the yo-yo, so it's very important to make sure that you have the shooting star there, which is actually why Bug picked up that potion in the previous room as a backup. So we have another interesting puzzle room here where you kind of have to slink between the 2 rooms, and see where the extra doors are, and turn on some lights, jump on some blocks, get some power-ups. Here is another sub-weapon, one of the favorites of the Startropics community, the cleats. The cleats will attack every single enemy on the screen. I don't know, Mike just like karate kicks to every enemy on the screen and does a single point of damage to them. I got a lot of things to deal with in this long room. Yeah, I got a lot of fireballs coming through here that we have to dodge while defeating all of those armets. This is an interesting mummy room because unlike some of the previous mummy rooms, we actually have to jump on tiles to get through here, but we also have to defeat all of the mummies, so it's a great place to use those cleats so we can just jump forward and get through the level. Alright, we picked up a sub-weapon, these little baseballs, and we can't use them on any enemy in the entire game except for this boss, which is Broken Joe. So this is, Mike gets to play a carnival game here and throw the baseballs into Broken Joe's mouth, giving us the second most favorable pattern there.
That's pretty good.
Bugdoctor making quick work of Broken Joe. Kicking him in the face as he's going down.
Hit him a couple times, yeah. Doesn't slow down anything, so...
Yeah, you gotta do it. Gotta do the swag.
Kick him while he's down, you know?
Alright, let me go through some more caves here. This is really just kind of setting the atmosphere for what's coming up the rest of the game. At this point in the story, we have gotten some coordinates of where our Uncle Steve is located, and he's located somewhere in this cave system. So we also find this giant meteorite-shaped thing with 3 holes missing from it. So the mystery continue. Yeah, it looks like a bowling ball. It looks like some Flintstone-style bowling ball, but yeah, it's some kind of meteor. So the mystery continues as we enter in the second dungeon. Sorry, excuse me, third dungeon of Chapter 6. We have a new sub-weapon here. Yes, another new sub-weapon. They just throw so many of them at you. This is the Asterix. You can actually throw it forward and then press the button again, and it will shoot off into 2, going in perpendicular directions.
It is super cool.
Yeah, it's very awesome and comes in super handy in this dungeon for various reasons.
And then we never see it again.
Never see it again.
Rest in peace, Asterisk.
Alright, we're coming up to the first sub-boss of this dungeon. This is the clay doll. The clay doll will fire projectiles at us when it sees Mike. Takes 14 hits to kill, I believe. So yeah, we have to make real quick work of it. It is almost lethal damage if it walks into you. Oh no! These enemies here will... Oh geez, they are really... Okay, we're good. You can only... Yeah, my goodness, this has to be... I think this is his first time. So these guys, the Rockies, they will start charging towards you in an invincible state, and then appear for just a few seconds where you can attack them, and then they will explode. So they're pretty difficult to deal with, especially in the room where there's 4 of them. This room is super scary because those guys take a lot of hits, and those little fuzzballs prevent you from doing any attacks similar to the ones in Zelda. But thank goodness we don't have to deal with that room in the run. Alright, I'm gonna be quiet here as... Oh no. Okay. Right. This room here is there's a quick kill for this room, but it's got some fairly difficult inputs, and involves sliding and buffering, and boy, it is a tough trick to pull off. But Mike decided to stay put in that place, so unfortunately we had to deal with him the normal way. Sumochos here, the final boss of this dungeon, are just gonna sit there and take the hits, I guess.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
That enemy can be a lot more difficult than it is, but they just decided to, it's fine. We use the asterisks to split and attack each one of the heads simultaneously. It takes 12 hits to defeat, so it's important. 10?
Yeah, 10.
Oh, it is 10. You're right. I always I don't.
Commentator?
Sorry, I'm gonna get fired before the next run. Yeah, I don't like to go into that room with less than 12 asterisks. That's where I think I'm getting that number from. But whatever. Yeah, that's what it was. But hey, we dealt with the Sumochos beautifully, and then look, we found Uncle Steve. This guy looks just like our dad, so clearly he's our uncle. Uncle Steve tells us essentially that this meteor came down from the sky, and there's these cubes in the meteor, and there are these alien children, and us as the player just like mind blown, like what's going on? There's aliens, and you like, huh? I thought I was just coming here for a vacation to visit my uncle. But no, there's a much bigger scheme going on here. So then Mike exits the cave, and we're gonna go into an alien spaceship.
Yeah, Steve, I'll kill them all, he says.
All right, sure. So Steve's like, hey, you need to like save these aliens. And Mike's like, sure. All right, I'll take my yo-yo and my 3 hearts and go into this stage. Alright, so this is probably one of the most difficult stages in the entire speedrun. So I'm going to kind of quiet down here while Bugdoctor concentrates, and we'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay, where to? Okay, Dave. What is going on here?
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay, I almost got it.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright, I think we're good here. This dungeon is awful because in the speedrun, because you got a lot of enemies that do a lot of damage to you, and we really don't want to be without our shooting star on that last path with those jet ski type enemies that are there. If they deal, I believe, 3 hearts of damage on impact, so no good. All right, and we're through. We're through the boss. Okay.
Like I kind of tried to body check the fat butts there for some reason, which I shouldn't have done. But it's okay. That's true.
Fine, I understand. Sometimes you just want to go full Michael on those guys.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, in that dungeon, there's a lot of safeties you can take when you're going to speedrun. There's a lot of like really cool like options. There's like set of cleats. There's what are lovingly called space drugs that fill up your health completely. But the fastest way to get through is to just go without getting any of the safeties, obviously. So I always like to try that at least once, and then if I died once, I would have taken like a safety option.
Yeah, that stage can cause a lot of problems. But
the Room of Tears. I knew he was going to jump down again. I just knew it. Okay. Making my way through these. This this dungeon kind of becomes like a side scroller. I don't know where the heck Zero counts went.
Sorry. Here I am. All right.
It's like,
Here comes. Oh, you dealt with Jeff. Jeff just took some hits. All right, so
again.
that was actually a really good beginning of this dungeon. We want to keep this shooting star into this room here with these turrets, because we can destroy those turrets really quick as long as the RNG is good for us. It wasn't the best pattern, but we still dealt with them very quickly. Alright, so normally, if we have taken some hits, we'll pick up that little pill up there, the space drugs. It'll fill up our hearts all the way, but like I said before, Bugdoctor's going full Michael on this run, and he's like, I don't need those space drugs.
There's this whole
So...
thing actually fangirling of Mike Jones from magazine, and so we call him Michael, so that's where that's coming from.
I love the joke so much. I had to just keep referring to it.
I think about the ridiculousness of Michael that I screwed up the gold bot. But that's
okay. I think that's exactly what happened.
Yes.
All right, so we have this long hallway here before the final boss of the dungeon. We got a couple hearts to pick up, which is nice, and you got all the satellites there. All right, these tiles here can deal like 4.5, 5.5 damage to Mike if he jumps on them. But we use some we use some buffering so that we actually go through over the tiles as they transition, so we don't actually take any damage. And then Asteroid, Bugdoctor dealt with so fast that I can't even commentate on it. He's dead. He's gone.
God.
He did it. The way you have to deal with Asteroid is you have to back him up and destroy the floor behind him, and then he'll fall to his death. And Bugdoctor beautifully pulled off the quick kill on Asteroid and sent him to his doom in a mere like 10 seconds.
Yeah, if you don't, if that boss gets out of hand, if Asteroid gets out of hand, it's a huge pain, especially because he does like a lot of damage, and the floor right beforehand, like those red tiles, do a ton of damage. And one of the big problems with this dungeon in particular is you want to end with a lot of health, because you get a full health refill at the end of it, and every heart refill takes like a second of your time. So if you're taking damage at the end there, you lose a ton of time as a result.
Yeah, this is all theater right here, filling up our hearts once we pick up the second of the 3 magic cubes. Because as I mentioned earlier, if y'all were paying attention, you start every single chapter with 3 hearts, and that includes the final chapter, chapter 8, coming up here. So despite the fact that we are currently sitting at 22 hearts, Mike is going to drop down to 3 as soon as we start the next section.
Yeah.
Which is totally fair.
Maybe as this is lifting off, he's just getting thrown around the ship and hitting the walls.
He's like bonking his head on the ceiling, and it's like, whoa.
He says that. He says, "Ow, my hearts," because he knows that he has hearts. You see.
This is why we all need to wear our seatbelts when you're blasting off an alien spaceship.
Absolutely. Startropics teaching life lessons here.
Next time you find yourself in an alien spaceship, make sure to buckle up. Alright, here we are in Chapter 8, the final chapter of the game, and here's Zoda, evil Invader Zoda. We have 3 boss fights to deal with here. This first form is Zoda's head and Zoda's hands. We can only attack Zoda's head. who will fire eyeballs at us as we as we attack it. So anybody who has been following the Startropics speed runs may know that these hands here are fairly famous for really destroying some runs, because this is all RNG here. Sometimes you'll get a head and you'll attack the head and you're all good, but sometimes you'll get a hand and then you'll get another hand and then you'll get another hand, and they will just keep on coming. But recently, earlier this year actually, one of the speedrunners, the Tantalus, who I believe was in chat earlier, and Fulco discovered that we could manipulate that RNG by holding down while the sprites were appearing. So it takes the normally like a 45% chance of a head appearing and turns it into a nearly 75% chance of a head appearing. It's a huge sway in the right direction, and takes our average from around like 5 or 6 hands down to like 2 or 3. So this is the reactor. This is a really scary room. Nearly got a 1 cycle there, which is amazing, because even when this room reacts the way we want it to, get it, because it's a reactor. Thank you. It still can be a real pain in the butt. All right, so we have destroyed the reactor, and we need to go up here and deal with the final boss of the game. This is a big, scary Zoda alien who's going to shoot off belly button shots and spit out little spaghetti monster Zoda spawns. We want to kind of stay on these tiles here. It takes 33 hits for 34 hits to defeat Zoda. So, and if Zoda hits us, it only takes 1 hit to kill us. So, and there it is. That's time.
Oh, we got the credit warp. So
wow.
The reason we split, perfect. The reason we split on Zoda's death is because this can happen, where you don't get to play out the rest of the chapter or the game, and you just skip right to the credits. So
yeah, I thought I saw it spit 1 out, which so yeah, I think if it spits out less than 2 of those spawns, then we end up skipping the whole rest of the game.
Yeah. Which sucks, because you get to. I mean, this slideshow is awesome. These are pieces that are awesome, but the end credits music for this is so awesome, and it sucks to just hear it so silent.
You just have to sit here in silence.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hey, so that was Startropics 1, everybody.
Yeah, and now we're going to get prepped for Startropics 2, which is not going to go nearly as smooth because I'm not as good at it.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. 105.37, really good time. Yeah, especially with the apple.
I am seeing that the chicken nugget was met, so we're going to be getting a chicken nugget in Startropics 2.
Oh boy.
As well.
Good.
Get excited. I'm hungry. All right, I guess we'll take a quick break and be back in a few minutes with Zoda's Revenge.